Hi and welcome to Whirlwind Wargaming. So we're going to take a look at issue number 2 now, the Spearhead magazine. This is the Age of Sigmar magazines that have just come out from Hachette Partworks. Please like and subscribe, and I'm going to continue doing these short videos on each issue as I receive my copies. So let's have a look then. So issue number 2 of Spearhead. This is the new magazine following the Warhammer Age of Sigmar range with the Spearhead format, which is similar to the Combat Patrol that they did for 40k. So inside this issue then we have got a unit of Rat Ogors, which is 3 bases and a sort of sprue and a half. So yeah, these are relatively recent mouldings, and I think they're a year before last, or about 2-year-old. This was part of sets, I think, which came out with the Skaven set. So yeah, we can see on here the mould there of 2024. Yeah, nice detail mould. A little bit of a warp there in this one, but that's probably not going to have much impact when I build these up. And I might do a short video on building them up and the sort of the play of the scenario that's probably going to be in the back of this issue. Anyway, yeah, nice detailed little figures. I'm new into Age of Sigmar, so this is something different for me. So yeah, issue number 2, 3 Rat Ogres. So these are sort of mutated, half ogre, half Skaven or Ratman type models. And we've got the issue that if you followed my Combat Patrol magazine reviews, this glue adhering where they punch through on the ring poles is a problem with these magazines, which makes it really difficult. So yeah, let's get into this magazine anyway. So you got the read, build, paint, play, which is fairly standard for them, and here we're going into a bit of lore about the Skaven. So you can see in the side column here, which are all color-coded then. So you've got the read, and this is Skaven 01. As we go through each page then, you've got the Children of the Great Horned Rat, which was, I think he was a lesser chaos god, which became a greater chaos god as his powers sort of evolved. And then a bit more lore then about the Skaven at War, and then you've got Vermin Doom, which sort of how this Skaven have sort of followed their god and ended up becoming a bigger unit amongst themselves, a bigger faction amongst themselves then, which ended up being able to challenge other units, other sort of factions amongst the worlds of Sigmar then. So Norholes, that's how they transport between the Blight City, which is the Great Elven, which is the Great Vermin tomb then, or Undercity. And then we've got the Spearhead Skaven. You've got a little picture down there of what's going to be entailed within the Spearhead. And then your how to build, which is fairly standard for these magazines, step by step. Tends to only have one build, which will build the Spearhead models. These sprues obviously come from box sets that have multiple different builds. You can see here you've got to glue together part 1 and part 2, which gives you part 1A, where then you attach part 3 and part 11. Skipping on to the next page. Yeah, you can sort of, so the blue bits in each picture is a sort of previous assembly and how that previous assembly attaches onto the gold bits there with the little small shields. Those are options. So you've got an optional head there for this model, and you've got optional little bits to put on the base to sort of accent the base. Again, step by step, you've got this warp fire gun, which this one is carrying. You've got more options here on the next one. Different head again, which is different to the previous heads. So you could build, well, that would be 4, and then I'm assuming they've got blades and fangs, and then back on the other page, yeah, you've got a different head again. So you could have 2 sets of this magazine, or 2 units of these, and you can have a different head on each one, because you've got an option of 6 different heads altogether within the one sprue. So you have got multiple options. So each one you could build with 2 different heads. So yeah, as I've said, this magazine's $6.99 at the moment. £38 if you're going directly to Warhammer to get those models. Third-party stores have got them up online. You can see Wayland Games here and Firestorm Games just over the £30 mark. So yeah, great saving buying it for the magazine. We're going to get the how to paint, which again was standard. You're going to have these gold sort of edges, which is going to be the painting guides. This is briefly telling you what they're going to be doing with the collection. It doesn't actually tell you how to paint these models. That's probably going to come in the future issues. And then we're moving on to the rules then. So you can see here then we've got the finishing off the painting, and then we're going to move on to the rules. So you got the plate A, which is going to be, you can see plate A basic 1 in the green column on the side there. So when you're filing these away, you can try and keep them all together. These are telling you about each unit, and so you can have single model units, and some single model units or units will have tokens with them, which are represented by a smaller model normally, which is normally for an ability. Once you've used that ability, you remove the token off the playboard. Then you've got multiple models, which will have several of them. Unit coherency, which we're supposed to stay within a certain difference, distance from one another, and then you're moving on to attacks. I'm probably going to do a little video on attacks. I didn't do this when I did the combat patrol magazines, but for each of the sort of new rule step and all the scenarios that they do, I might do a little playthrough of that to get myself sort of into the rules of Age of Sigmar, and sort of try and educate my fellow wargame enthusiasts that are out there as well. So yeah, saying about the damage tokens, they're on the back page of the first issue, and I think they're on the back page of this issue as well, where you can cut out those little triangular skulls and you can put them alongside. And then you've got a little tutorial, your reinforcements arrive. I'm going to do a separate video on this where I play through these. It's telling you what units you're going to need. So I'm going to need to build up these 3 Rat Ogres. The Lord Variant I'm going to need as well, the battle mats, some dice, and the wound markers. So I'll get all that together and I'll do another little video. It runs through each one here where it's got the Stormcast's turn. It's got some hypothetical dice rolls telling you how many dice rolled, what was rolled, and which ones were hits and which ones were misses, which ones are wounds, which ones are fails, which ones are saves, which ones are fails. And then it's got inflicting damage there then. So it's saying that your staff does 3 damage, a blade will do D3 damage. And the Rat Ogre's got a health of 3. So just telling you how you do that. Moving on to Skaven. And then it's giving Victio scenarios here. It's adding a little bit of fluff, a little bit of themology then to your sort of battles. They're the wound tokens, as I mentioned. They're in the back of this one. You've got from issue 1 as well. And there's a nice big picture there of all the models you're going to be receiving within this collection, which is another, great collection again. On the back page then, it's got issue 3, a little preview on there, which is showing that we're going to get 5 Liberator models in the next issue. These are weekly. I think that one is going to go up to the full value of $9.99 then. So this one's $6.99, next one's $9.99. Please like and subscribe. I'll knock out the next video around the next day or so. Thank you guys.